and we'll give this a go. We'll see how we're doing today. Welcome, my guest here. We have Will from TextRP. How's your day going, Will? How are you, fam?
Well, it's a Monday. For a
Mm,
lot of people, that is like a dreary day, but for me, it's just another Monday because every day's a Monday.
every day's a Monday. You got to break that down for me. What do you mean every day's a Monday?
Every day's the start of the week. Every day's an opportunity to kill it, right?
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. So, how do you take Tuesdays then?
I know that it's great for tacos.
Okay, Taco Tuesday. You're a big believer in
Yes,
tacos?
maybe.
Maybe. All right, cool. Let's get to know Will a little bit. If you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, where you come from, anything like that, any kind of lore narrative that we can kind of build on, I'm more than welcome to listen to you, Will. And thank you
Sure
so much.
thing. This
I
is
appreciate
probably a good opportunity to kind of relax a little bit. I talk
it.
about TextRP all the time. I live it. I wear it. So something I do so often that sometimes I forget to talk a little bit about myself
Mm,
and my background and how this all came to be. Um, my background, I mean, I got involved in just technology, telecommunications rather early on. My dad was an electronics technician, and he would have these little computers that you would not recognize today. These are things you just plug into your TV with like no RAM whatsoever. So the moment you power off, you just lost everything you wrote. But I started off a little bit like that, but really got involved in technology and tech when I joined the military. So I joined the Army in 19. Oh, already called it. I said 19.
you did.
But this was, I believe it was 1997
Mm,
when I went into the Army, and I went in as a network switching systems operator slash maintainer,
mm,
which is just a long fancy words for just a radio and telephone guy.
mm.
So our mission, if you were to so to speak, is was to go out to remote sites and establish a communications link with the network. So I operated what was at the time known as a small extension node. But in essence, it's just a node where commanders can have access to their internet and their phones and have that command and control capability. I did that for 11 years, medically retired due to just too many jumps out of an airplane.
I get
After
that.
that, I went to school for electronics engineering technology. Shortly after that, I started working with various government programs. So I've been in the defense industry all my life, you could say. In 2012, I joined up with the military complex, if you some people call it, supporting war fighters in their mission. Uh, did some years doing virtual simulation training. And then just in the last few years, went back to my roots to telecommunications, where I provide services to various elements of the military, and we keep them connected to the greater network. Um, can't really talk a lot about what I do, but I've been involved with companies such as Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, Raytheon, basically all the main players of the defense industry. And so I've gotten quite the experience in contracting and meeting those contract requirements. I took a lot of that, what I've learned organizationally, into what we're doing with TextRP, our
Mm,
team, the way we are organized on the back end, how we run our operations, because we're seeing this as more than a crypto play. Um, you have a lot of ventures out there that call themselves projects. Uh, a project is a temporary thing. We are building a business that we're looking to sustain by providing not just services for the crypto community, but also engineering these services into business solutions and enterprise solutions.
Absolutely love that. I want to get back to TextRP, but let's take it back before TextRP when you started getting into blockchain technology, crypto, all that sort of thing. I feel like you could skim that a little bit. So
Sure
take me
did,
back
didn't
a
I?
little further. You sure did. You got to jump around on me, but it's all good. We'll get back over there and we'll get to TextRP because that's built on the XRP blockchain. So I feel like we should go back to your blockchain building days and how you got involved with that kind of scene.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my blockchain, my
Yeah.
crypto journey, so to
Yeah.
speak,
Yeah.
everyone has something similar here or there with a few differences. Mine started, I would say, 2010 is when I first heard of Bitcoin,
Wow.
that magical internet money, which I thought it was a nifty thing.
Yeah.
I had only just read about it, and I
Mhm.
thought to myself, well, those kids got something going, good for them. And, I'll just follow along. That was 2010. I totally forgot about it and went and had a life until about 2017 when Bitcoin hits $18,000, and that's all everyone was talking about. I could not at all avoid ignoring it, right? So
Mm.
I took a look. Like most people, I kind of just FOMO'd in. And if you were around in 2017, 2018, then you know what happened right afterwards. It just crashed. And I thought to myself, well, lesson learned. But
Mm.
it really put my eye on it a little more. In fact, I started
Mm.
looking at the other tokens that were coming up in the space at the time. I did see Ripple. I thought it was what everybody was saying on the internet. It was just the banker's coin, and at the time, I was a bit of a maxi. But really, there's no excuse. I can't personally reflect on did I have a valid excuse, or was I just jumping on the bandwagon like everyone else, right?
Mm.
And so, just being honest with myself, I think it was the latter. I don't think I gave Ripple an actual look. I never really, looked at the code or anything. I just played along with what everyone's saying. Oh, it's
You
Bitcoin and
FOMO'd.
everything.
You FOMO'd. You can be honest with me here, Will. You FOMO'd.
Yeah, so
I feel
I
you.
went the
It happens.
Bitcoin maxi route for a little bit.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It came and went. I mean,
Mm.
this is now the year, I would say 2020.
Mm.
The pandemic hits,
Huge.
everything crashes.
Right.
And so I'm sitting at home, not working, going, okay, well, it's time to do some research. So I started researching into Bitcoin and then other things. And, I stumbled onto a few YouTubers that, were not just pumping price, throwing hopium your way, just doing the what they call the confirmation bias,
Mm.
right? Not just looking at price charts, because I don't even believe in that. But they were looking at, PDF files that they found on some government server, or some document that released by the Federal Reserve, and these documents alluded to a new economic system. And
Ooh.
when you do the math and you kind of connect the dots, it was really pointing towards XRP.
Mm.
And so I started giving it a look, and then a more serious look, and then I said, wait a minute, no, this is real. So I just went all in on that. Bitcoin who? Yeah. So I went into XRP. I looked at the code. I loved what they
Mhm.
were doing. The code was so easy to read, because
Yeah.
it's really not code. If anyone's looking at the XRP ledger and going, oh, but I don't know how to code,
Mhm.
like, have you even gone to xrpl.org? I mean, yeah, there's code there, but it's all described in plain English. And so I read it. I'm not a strong programmer myself, although I did go through programming classes in school, and I do dabble, but not really with the web space of things. A lot of just, stuff for industry. But I could follow along with what was going on. I said, this is great. I wasn't really looking to build anything at all at the time. I was just looking at the technology and really looking at the connections, what was being planned, by the banks and whoever is out there planning their plans. And then so I was going with that. And then once,
Sure.
I believe it was it December 21st or thereabouts? Anyway, when the bear season starts coming, and everyone's like, oh, okay, well, it's the bear season. I said, okay, well, I'll just take some of my winnings, and I'm going to jump into creating utility for the space, because I was spotting a few things in the XRP space and in crypto in general that were really rubbing me the wrong way. Just things I was not liking, where it was going, the limitations, and we'll talk about those. But I was seeing that, and I said, you know what, I think we could do better. And so I actually started a project that was related to rewarding content creators such as yourself. I saw there was a problem with people purchasing fake views, fake likes, fake engagement. And I thought I could actually, solve that problem through real engagement. It's just a matter of connecting the right people to their, to their audience. Once I did some market research, and this is where a lot of projects fail, is they don't do their market research. I realized that it's a very saturated market. Everyone's looking to serve you, the content creator, right? So it wasn't a market that I thought I would be good at. I would have any success. In fact, I'd be competing with a lot of people, probably more well connected and better funded. So that was a thing, so I'm like, okay, well, let me pivot out of that and into something more primitive, because I was really looking for utility. And to me, I'm looking at the space, and what was being labeled utility wasn't something that I myself would consider utility, right? And so to me, utility is something you actually use and do. And it's probably not sexy. It's just something boring and mundane. But that's what real utility is. For example, this pen is a utility.
Yes,
right?
You write with it. Yes, this is correct. You use it.
It's not shiny. It doesn't give you 3,000 APY or anything. But I can do so much damage with this, or so much healing. Right. And so I was looking at that. And so it got to me that messaging is actually a utility that is within the scope of the crypto space, but it's also within everyone's scope. So you message people outside of crypto, right? Everyone's got a phone and they're messaging back and forth. So I did what every project should do. I did market research, right? And so I started researching that market, segmenting it out, and I realized that the blockchain messaging industry is predicted to grow almost 43% year over year.
Wow.
And that's a huge growth.
Yes. That is massive.
But more importantly is that the P2P, in other words, the person-to-person transactional market, in other words, me paying you, you paying me sending you an NFT and back, or any type of value transaction, that's going to be $150 billion industry by 2030.
Wow.
And so we looked at the opportunity and saw that by jumping on the blockchain messaging train, we could leverage that growth into the P2P transactional market. And I know this might be a little boring, but what we did is basically, looking at the market, we realized that this, and then, we looked at, okay, well, who's in the market right now? And it's very, very few players. And surrounded by some very huge players. Okay. And those huge players are, you got your Discords, your Telegrams, your WhatsApps, right? But within the scope of crypto, there really wasn't a player. There are some apps that are really, trying to do, the messaging. But I feel that that's not enough, because anyone can message through any means. Messaging is ubiquitous, right? It should not be the product. It should be the product delivery platform, right? And so we're looking at it from that approach. And so what we're doing is we're taking the messaging utility and using blockchain to enhance messaging. And we do that through various ways. And in TextRP, we do it by allowing you to tap into the utilities that blockchain do offer within the space of a chat message, right? So I could be chatting with you and wanting to send you a payment. Well, I can do that within that space. If I want to, say, trade an NFT with you, perform some kind of sale transaction, we can do that within the scope of that chat environment. And so the point being that so you don't have to actually leave the communication environment that you're in to perform other tasks. If you're in sales, for example, you want to eliminate as much friction between, you want to make it easy for the customer to make the purchase, right? You don't want to, have the customer have to jump through hoops to get to the point of purchasing, because by the time they get back to you, they may have changed their mind. So it's all about removing that friction, those extra steps that work well, not just in the sales environment, but also in a community environment. So we have, what TextRP is basically a competition to what Telegram and Discord are, right? So they are platforms that connect communities. Discord, remember, was originally meant for the gaming community, right? So you have a lot of that aspect is tailored toward that. Telegram, I don't know what they were tailored to. I think maybe scammers, right? But there you have that. And so you have the crypto space in which they're looking at what options they have to build a community, and they see Discord with their insecure way of communicating, their plethora of scammers and people pretending to be someone they're not. And then all sorts of just different hacks that people, the scammers have figured out on Discord. And you got Telegram, which personally I can barely figure out. And I know that a lot of people have a hard time just figuring out the interface, how exactly it works, just shutting off communication, all the notifications, all the bots and everything going on. And so we see the opportunity of providing that space for the early adopters of crypto who are seeing the space and going, where is the utility? Where is the, because, we could talk about all the, all the things I've seen that are just, I disagree with. I'm trying to keep it positive, but
that's right. We want to be positive.
There's a lot of stuff out there that just, I don't like. I think it's bad for the space. And so we did everything different. We did everything. I looked at the space and I said, how do I stand up TextRP in a way that's different from everyone else? So the first thing I did was I built TextRP with my own money. That's something you don't see in the crypto space. I didn't go out there begging, hardworking people for their money in the form of some NFT or some coin or whatever. I just went ahead, built the damn thing. And after I had a prototype, then I got on X, I created an account and I announced to the space, I have a thing that you can actually look at and use right now. Right. And so that I'm very proud of how we stood up TextRP. It's not something that most crypto projects do. They go, hey, I have an idea. I was in the shower the other day and I got an idea. And I figured, hey, why don't I just have a bunch of strangers fund this idea? I have no business experience. I don't know what I'm doing, but hey, let's go for it because, you know, it's crypto and anything can happen. And so,
That's right. Optimistic.
you know, you get a lot of people that get in over their heads, don't know what they're doing, don't even have the funds to do it. They're just going out there with the last, you know, $100 they have to their name, and hopefully they'll get enough people to buy into their idea, which, hey, they may have the best intentions. I'm not saying that it's a bad idea or that, you know, they have ill intentions, but oftentimes you got to do your market research when you get out of the shower with that idea you just came up with.
Yeah, you do. You have to. That's huge. You got to do your market research. It's number
And you
one.
have to,
And then,
you market research. You have to be sure you're sustainable at least for a good run. You know, most businesses will run 5 years at a loss. So if you're going to start a project, you better be prepared to be broke for 5 years at least. And so that's what I did. I was prepared to be broke for 5 years, and you know, here we are, chugging along. We're still here. We are now on year 4 of TextRP. We haven't gone anywhere, and actually we've been growing, and all this with very, you know, again, I do things differently. I don't answer the shillers. Okay, so in the 4 years, in the 3 and some change years that we've been out there, never once have I purchased, you know, an engagement, followers. You know, I haven't paid shillers to shill our app. Oh, and by the way, yes, we do have NFTs and we do have tokens, but those are secondary to the utility that we're providing. See, and that's where I like to be. I like to you know, have our utility at the forefront, not our cryptos and our tokens that we're just trying to sell to people.
No, I absolutely love that. And I think more projects should be like that, more driven on the utility aspect. And it was so funny, you're like describing that pen earlier. I was like, what's a chair? I'm sitting on a chair right now. That's literally utility to sit on a chair. That's what it's made for. There's tons of chairs that you can buy at any type of price point. But the thing is, you need chairs to sit down on.
And you need one now, not a promise of a chair later.
That's right, exactly. And if I don't get that chair right now, like that's that what does that do me? It doesn't do me anything, right? I need a chair to sit on. That's utility currently that I'm on, and it's doing its job. It's use, and that's use, right? Utility. And I'm just like, how many projects since I've been running spaces since 2021 will have actual real utility? Not many. I would say less than 0.001%, like that. Like a lot of it is just, you see these pretty images, right? And they sometimes they move, sometimes they don't. You mint them, right? Or, oh, that meme token looks great. You know, let me go put my money investment into that. Oh, it was a rug. Darn it. Guess I lost my money again.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have some hot takes. I have some hot takes on this thing, and don't get me started because, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a circle jerk if you ask me.
And you told me you've been in crypto Twitter for a while, right? Like you've been part of the whole
system
for a while, for the last 4 or 5 years. So it's like from a developer standpoint, then like take me through, like, has there been any kind of shills out there with like real utility that you can actually invest in, that you could actually share with someone, and be it that that's a big deal, like that's like you would actually rep them, right?
Yeah, there is utility out there, and that, you know, out of the noise, there are projects out there that are building something real and are, working towards sustainability, and that's important too. All right, so Crypto Fam, I'm gonna ask you a quick question. Are you here? Because your video did freeze. I'm going to stand by for just a moment. See if you come back in.
All right, I think we're back.
Bro, tell me that that video saved.
Yeah, it automatically saves. So,
Okay, good. So we can continue then. All right. That
don't
sucks.
worry, Will. Don't worry. All right. So my parents.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
It keeps coming in and out.
Yeah, I see
Oh,
that.
there we go. There we go. I think we're back.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, yeah. They were messing with the internet up there. They had to fix something, my parents. So anyway, we're back. I think we're good. It records. I was asking you a question mid-sentence. Damn it. No, don't do stop doing this to me,
All
Will.
right. So we were talking about, yeah, you're gonna have to
Oh,
splice
projects.
these together.
Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely splice this. Don't worry. So projects, with real utility. Did you find any of them
Yeah.
since on your crypto journey?
I'll just let you start off with a question, so we can,
Perfect, perfect. Yeah. So, when you were doing your crypto Twitter back in the days, starting your journey, on X and whatnot, what other projects that you came across that actually had real utility that was not vaporware? Did you find any? And if you did, like, what did you find?
well, you know what? In the early days of the IOU tokens for
Mm-hmm.
NFTs, so before before the XRPL had NFTs, obviously we call them trust line tokens, meme coins, what have you, right? That's always been a part of the XRP ledger. As we were approaching the NFT amendment, a lot of projects were propping up, going, hey, we're going to issue these tokens that serve as IOUs so that when the NFTs come, you'll be able to swap them for, the token for an NFT. And so that's how these projects were funding themselves. I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think I saw a single project that was self-funded,
Mm.
to be honest. I mean, I
Believe
don't
it.
know of any project that was, like that they went ahead, created at least to the point of a prototype before they went, hey, asking for money for people.
Right.
I could be wrong. But I think every single one of them I encountered was, hey, give us money. We promise we're going to do something with it.
And they
I,
never did.
No, actually, no, some did. Some did. I
Some
mean,
did.
there was,
Okay, that's good.
X-Punks, for example.
Oh yeah.
X-Punks went ahead and with their proceeds created on XRP, which was an NFT marketplace that later on they, I guess they pivoted and became bids.com. And so they're still chugging along. Great. That's a success story. You could chalk up to that one. But, that's, again, all this depends on being pre-funded.
Right.
So we're doing something completely different, no hype, just straight up boring utility that's messaging. But I think that what's happening right now is we're achieving a point of sort of like critical mass where more and more people are starting to see TextRP. We've recently reached some milestones that are pretty impressive for an application in this space. We've won certain awards that have put us sort of in the spotlight.
That's huge.
First, we won the second place in the Ripple Hackathon in summer of 2023. We won second place on that one. Most recently, we won the first place in the XRP Las Vegas Shark Tank competition, which was last year. And so people are asking, are you going to compete this year? I'm like, well, it's still TextRP. I mean, I'm happy to bring it up there if it, pin it up against other projects. But there's a few projects. So I mentioned one. Okay. I think I'm just beating around the bush because there are maybe some trading bots out there, some gaming projects. So for example, like I know Zertmon comes to mind. And there's a few out there, but I don't want to list them off for fear that maybe they just don't exist anymore.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Because that's just what happens. There's a lot of projects from back in the day that I just don't see anymore. I don't know if they're active or not. I may hold some of their NFTs or not, but at the end of the day, that's kind of the thing. I was seeing that it was all cookie cutter. Everyone was doing pretty much the same thing, selling an NFT to be part of some community, whether it's the happy hens, the pouncing pandas, the sneaky snakes, the whatever you want to be, whatever community you want to be.
Yeah.
There's that, and they were just creating these tokens and a community, and they were setting up on Discord
Mm.
and kind of just sharing good vibes, which
Right.
is great, I guess. It's fun. I mean, there's escapism,
Sure.
and that's important for a lot of people.
Right.
That kind of bug kind of passed me. I
Mm.
never got it. Maybe it's just I lived a hard life. And so I'm kind of like a down to earth kind of person.
Yeah.
Fantasy doesn't really get me. Like that. I'm not into going off into fantasy land. So, and that's not to say that it's bad or that it's wrong or that people shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that's my own personal preference. And I can
Yeah.
understand that people, want to be part of a community that does XYZ or whatever. But I also think to myself, like, do these people really know the people behind the projects? Are they really all
Mm.
about that? What are their real motives? And so I always look at everything with a lot of skepticism, and I never really want to get myself involved in something of that nature. Yet I wanted at the same time to be able to support people who have these endeavors, who want to create a community, or as I like to call them, microeconomies, because that's really what they are. They're just centered around a theme. And
Mm.
so I looked at this and I said, through messaging, through an app that you can create communities, but not only create communities in chat, because you can do that in Discord, you can do that on Telegram. It's also integrated into the XRPL, so you can do things like native token gating, right? So you can close off access to a specific chat room to holders of a specific NFT or a token. There's the chat pay, so you can send payments right there in the chat. We have a P2P NFT trading widget, which basically allows you to trade NFTs right there in the chat. We have games coming up. We recently partnered with Ripple Rocket, and they are creating the TextRP's first DEX widget. So you'll be able to perform decentralized exchange actions right there in the chat with your community. One of our communities even embedded a widget for onboarding so that the people who visit their community can purchase that token right there in the chat without having to exit, right? So they make everything, the widgets can be whatever you want, right? So, and that's the point. We want people to be able to interact with the blockchain. But think about it this way, there's that problem that people have, oh, how do we onboard more people into this and onto that? Well, dude, you're trying to onboard your grandma into a bonded curve DeFi platform that most people don't understand, right? And that's not going to happen, right? But if you onboard your grandma onto a chat where she can chat with her, her grandkids, that's more likely something that she'll understand, right? Because she's been doing that anyway, I assume, on Facebook, right? Because that's where grandmas hang out.
Or and my mom and my dad.
Well, yeah, true. Well, you better.
Older.
Hey, they're probably asking when they're going to be when are they going to have their grandkids?
Right. Yeah.
All right,
Exactly.
that's a
On
different
Facebook.
topic.
On Facebook. No,
That's
totally
okay. We'll
different.
get you squared away.
Focus. Why do you think people get into crypto? Well,
greed.
Mm.
Sorry, did I say something too close to the truth?
No, everyone's got different answers. I haven't heard that one. So.
I think that's I think the main reason is greed. I think people see a way to make money and they do that. And they jump into it. I mean, just simple as that. Now we can elaborate on that and different levels to it. And is it a bad thing versus is it a good thing? Well, it's a spectrum. I mean, greed can be good, but it's also can lead people to perform very unethical actions, right? And so, but what gets people into crypto? Money. The possibility of life-changing gains, at least to the people who buy into crypto, right? You know, and of course I got my bags, but you know, and I would be dishonest to say that that's not my reason for holding bags, because I want the price to go up, right?
Of course.
Like what? No, because I just like holding. But there are those people who say, I'm just here for the technology.
Right, of course.
Are
you really? You're here to make money.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying that yes. I love the technology, and I love being here for the technology.
Nice.
You know, number one. But I want to do it ethically. You know, I have my beliefs. I have a Christian background. You know, and I'm just not gonna go the way of what I see a lot of projects do, just like taking money. And you know, they may have good intentions, but look, if I may have good intentions too, but I'm just, you know, I'm just not gonna ask for people for money. It's just not my style of doing things. So that being said, I will happily ask people for money if it's for a service, right? Something they can actually use or have or enjoy right now. And so when we launched our launch pack NFTs, they were ready to be used within the platform, right? So, you know, our launch pack NFTs are founder level NFTs. They grant you access to all the premium features on the TextRP platform that you don't have to have a separate feature pack for. Basically, it's like a premium pass. So you hold this one NFT in your wallet, you connect, and I know we haven't really spoken about TextRP, but we take a lot of, you know, pride in what we're doing. See, when you log into Discord, in fact, I just got the ping on my phone. I'm gonna post this on X, but this is breaking news, fam. Breaking news. Discord is going to start requiring biometric scanning and IDs to use the app.
That's huge. That's huge. Wow.
Now, we ditched Discord already. In fact, we wrote a Medium article onto why we ditched it months ago. Yes, we still have a presence there, but we're basically directing people to TextRP. There's many reasons. And now we were just given today yet another reason why we're not on Discord and why you shouldn't be. By the way, Discord is owned by Tencent, which is owned by China, which is owned by the CCP.
I know it. I know it. I know it now.
So
just as bad as TikTok.
TextRP is a privacy first chatting messaging platform.
Right.
We use a very robust, very proven protocol that is already being used by governments throughout the world.
Right.
This protocol is being used by the German Ministry of Health. This protocol is used by the Italian and French militaries. This protocol is used by Homeland Security to consolidate their messages from various departments. And what I'm talking about is called the Matrix Protocol. All right. So what we did is we took the Matrix Protocol, we forked it, and we heavily modified it so that we integrate it with the XRPL. So it's a very customized version of that protocol. And what we do is we create your identity as your wallet address. So basically, we don't require you to give us any personal information to register for the app. In fact, there's hardly even any registration. We've practically pre-registered every wallet on the ledger that exists and will ever exist. And so basically you just connect your wallet to TextRP and you're instantly created a telecommunications portal for your wallet where you can have end-to-end encrypted communications. That's wallet to wallet. You could set up community spaces like we spoke about, but also we have bridges. So this allows you to bridge onto other messaging platforms. So for example, let's take Discord. If for whatever reason you still have a presence in Discord and you want to keep tabs on what's happening there, you can actually bridge your Discord messages over to TextRP. where you will be provided with one inbox where you can consolidate all your messages and just manage everything out of one app rather than having to switch between apps to get anything done.
Right.
So that's kind of like the purpose of TextRP. You know, it's just your main communications hub that allows you to not just communicate with people, but to perform the actions that you're there to communicate with them for anyway. Right? Usually you're talking to someone for a reason, right?
Right.
And,
Right.
and 8 times out of 10, the 20-20-80-20 rule has to do with some kind of transaction. Right. And so we're there at the point where those transactions happen at the point of communication. Right now, we live in a world where you communicate and then the follow-up transaction happens somewhere else. Right. And so we're just basically bringing all that into one space. So TextRP is live like right now. You know, those launch packs are kind of like anyone can use it without the launch pack. The launch pack NFT basically just grants you access to all the premium features because TextRP is not just text, right? We can do, you know, everything you expect from a modern day messaging platform. You know, you got your emojis, your GIFs, your video clips. You can send, you know, you can have video calls, you can have voice calls, you can have teleconference calls, just like we're having here, you and me, right on TextRP, right? So, you know,
that's huge.
We ourselves, yeah, we use TextRP internally for our team communications. You know, we have our team meetings on TextRP. When it's payday, I pay my developers right on TextRP using the chat pay feature. So a lot happens on TextRP, and you know, it's really like an open secret that I created TextRP to make my life easier, right? And if it happens to make your life easier too, then you know it's a win.
That's huge. No, that's really huge. And I want to go back to a little more of how you started in crypto. Again, you said you started with Bitcoin, with finances, wanted to make money in crypto, right? Like everyone, sure. And then you jumped to Ripple. What happened to Ethereum? Why didn't you start building on Ethereum originally? Curious about that
Oh,
because that was out. That was out back then.
yeah,
So, but
yeah.
let me guess, it was probably the gas fees, right? That turned you off. Like, let's
What
be
do you
real.
think? Yeah, it
That's
was
what
the
I thought.
gas. I
Yeah.
got gassed
Yep.
out. You know,
Okay.
I
That
was
makes sense
jumping
then.
into some, you know, DeFi projects on ETH, on Ethereum, and
Yeah.
like I realized that like no matter, even if I had a winnings, it would get all burned up in the gas anyway. So
Yeah.
I just ditched it. I was like, it's not for me. Now that's
Yeah.
not to say that we are not building on Ethereum.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. You mind sharing?
Yeah, I mean, look, what we created out of TextRP, you know,
Yeah.
and I'll basically put this out there that TextRP, and going back to what we were talking about, projects are temporary,
Mm.
right? TextRP is the flagship product of our company,
Mhm.
right? Through TextRP, we are showing what to other, not just other crypto ventures, but also enterprises, established businesses, what is possible with our technology,
Mm.
right? And so cannot go into a whole lot of detail, but our, you know, our back end operations involve reaching out and communicating with partners where we provide communications solutions for them.
Right.
Because in essence, our company is a communications solutions provider. It just so
Mm.
happens that our flagship product is TextRP.
Love that. That's awesome. We definitely I just admire your journey. Like you've spent the last now 4 years, you're on year 4 building TextRP, and you're doing it the opposite way of most people, right? And I think that's really cool in that respect. But I want to know how you're looking to scale it, I guess, the next year or so with users. What do you have in mind with just like market strategy and so forth?
Okay, yeah. Oh, 2026 is going to be huge.
Mm.
So right now we're actively okay, to use TextRP, you connect your crypto wallet in order to to talk, because your identity is not your personal information. You're just a wallet address,
Right.
right? That's all you are, unless you choose to dox yourself, further, right? But that being said, when you connect your wallet, currently in our beta version, you can use your Xaman wallet, XAMAN. It is right now the most popular wallet on the XRPL space. However, we are actively involved in expanding access to more than just the Xamen wallet. So wherever you have XRP, pretty soon you'll be able to connect and turn that XRP wallet into a communications terminal, or basically a communications node of a sort. And so that's one of the very big things that we have coming, is we're expanding access to more wallets. We're also partnered with a company that will be providing what's known as wallet procurement. All right. And what this means basically is, when you come to TextRP, and if you are, let's say you invite your dad, who's not into crypto, into TextRP. He's like, all right, fine, I'll chat with you on TextRP. I'll see what this is all about. They'll be able to go to TextRP and it'll say, connect your wallet. And first thing he'll go is like, I don't have what do you mean connect my wallet? He'll try to reach in his pocket and try to, find the plug.
Sure.
Ain't gonna happen. Sure. Right? So there's gonna be a little option that says, oh, don't have a wallet? Just click here. They'll be able to click there. Through 1, 2, 3 steps, they'll have a wallet, and they'll be instantly logged into TextRP.
Nice.
Their wallet will be a custodial wallet that will be managed by a third party. They'll be able to then follow up. They'll basically sign in with their Google account. And then they'll have a wallet. They'll follow it with it later, but they'll have instant access to TextRP, giving TextRP, giving access to TextRP to everyone, not just anyone with a wallet, right? So that's also very exciting. I can't wait to, roll that up. And then we are going to be expanding our bridges. So currently we have 2 bridges available, or I should say 2, but then 1. We had the X bridge that allowed you to pipe in your DMs from X.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
We also have another bridge, which is your Discord bridge, that allows you to pipe in your messages from Discord. Currently, because of the changes that X has done to the way they do direct messaging, that bridge is out of service. And so we're working on rebuilding a bridge that meets their specs that will then allow us to bridge in X. So currently it's out of service. We have the Discord bridge available.
Okay.
And we will be releasing very soon the Telegram bridge and the WhatsApp bridge. So these will allow you to bridge in your Telegram messages and your WhatsApp messages all into one inbox called TextRP.
Beautiful, beautiful. When do you think a mobile version of TextRP would be available for the
That's
public?
also in the works. We are in the early works on that, because there's just a lot to consider when it comes to iOS, for example, in the Apple Store.
Yeah,
there are some challenges when it comes to that because of our crypto payments capabilities. Apple Apple does not like it when you make money through an app and they don't have their hands in there, right?
Of course.
They have to get their cut. And so we're exploring ways in which we can get an app into the Apple Store that will be approved, right? Because I don't want to spend time and money on developing an app that's just going to get kicked out right off the bat, right? So we're working on ways in which we can meet their standards and be allowed in, right? With Android, it's a little easier, right? Because
Yeah.
Because even if we get rejected by their Google Play Store, we can still, people can still download the APK
Right.
file and run it, just download it and run it.
Sure.
So it's a little easier to that. So we
Okay.
are lining up developers for that. We just have not found that right person.
Sure.
We have a great team of developers right now. We just onboard. Our team grew by 60% this year.
That's huge.
Okay,
That's
so
huge.
we are up to like 8 or 9 developers now. Okay,
Nice.
and each is working on a little bit of a little task within TextRP, improving the overall integration aspect of it. We went to market right away. Like my approach is get the hell to market.
Right.
We'll improve later. This is how iPhone did it, right? iPhone, if you remember when the iPhone 1 first came out back in
Right. I don't know when.
2007.
Sure.
Yeah, 2007.
I can't remember.
No, it came out. I don't know if you remember it. It was cool because they had the screen, right? But
okay.
but really, it had no video. You couldn't take video. It was camera, but no video. There was no app store, and about the coolest feature it had was a compass, right?
That's
and,
right. Yeah, I
and
remember
so
that.
here we are now, right? Bestseller, all that stuff, right? But it had to start somewhere, right? It had to get to market, at some point. And I could not wait around to have TextRP be perfect before I release it.
Right. So that's why it's in beta still, basically.
It's in beta,
so people can still try it.
But it was actually the best choice we did, because as a result, we've gotten a lot of user feedback, and we're basically taking that feedback and feeding it back to our developers, right? And so they're taking that information, improving upon the product. And so over time, we're going to have ourselves, a very, a killer app. And a lot of people have compared it to WeChat. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with WeChat, but in essence, it's like an everything app because of how we have widgets in our app that engage with the user.
Right.
That just opens up so many use cases. And I've seen, already a bunch of use cases that I couldn't even have thought of within TextRP. We've onboarded over 5,300 wallets now.
That's awesome.
Onto the app. We have over 23 communities that have made TextRP their home, and we're inviting more to to come and check us out. I believe Crypto Fam Radio has a page that a group that they've I saw you guys have been starting to make TextRP your home, and that's the beauty of it. Crypto Fam is that you don't even have to. You don't need my permission. It's an app that you get to use. Nobody needs anyone's permission to go to textrp.io and connect their wallet and start using it. We are the messaging chat layer for the XRPL, and pretty soon our company will be providing the same type of services for other blockchains. To do that, that's just going to open up a whole world of cross-chain communications that I don't think we have the time to talk about.
I don't think we do either, Will, but at the same time, I see the vision for TextRP. Once Nasi told me about he was taking this boot camp, and he introduced me to you, and then from those interactions, I was able to assess and do my own research, and then more talks with you and spaces and even offline. And I was a big promoter, like initially, like it makes sense, right? And we have to think about things that make sense. Like, are they effective? Are they not effective? This is very effective. And it's a private communication layer that, in a lot of ways, there was an app that used to be like that called Signal. Do you remember that? Signal?
I still use it.
You still use it? Okay. And I remember that was like, Elon really liked that app because it was like this private, secure chat.
Yeah, you just reminded me that we do have a Signal bridge coming.
Interesting. Okay.
So if you use Signal, you'll be also able to bridge in your Signal messages onto TextRP.
That's
as
huge.
well. Just one central hub for all your communications needs.
That's huge. And yeah, after hearing that, I'm like, isn't this what Elon promised us years ago with X, the everything app? I feel like it's the everything app in a lot of ways to your communication, to, you know, your advertisers not, you know, or I should say platforms not stealing your information. So advertisers can use to advertise, you know, whatever product service like they do on these social media platforms. Like they can't do that because they don't have your information. And I don't think people really realize how huge that is, right? And they don't really get it, the whole privacy thing too. That used to be a huge thing with the internet. Now people don't even talk about privacy anymore. People just give up their information like
Mhm.
openly. You see this now, and it's like, why the change all of a sudden with culture, right? Like why are people so, at first they were so against it, but now they're like, it used to be reluctant. Now they're like, whatever. Now it's like, just take my information and feed it to the algorithms. You know what? Why has there been such a different change in the public sentiment? Why do you think that is? Well,
That's a good question. Actually, I'm reminded of something that David Schwartz, who's the CTO of Ripple,
mm-hmm.
um, recently he came onto a space on Twitter,
Yeah.
and I believe it was with Karma Coverage,
Mm.
and he spoke about something very similar to what you are asking. So he was talking about how, and I have to agree with him,
Mm.
how there is this, maybe I'm okay, by the way, I might put words into his mouth, but you know,
It's okay. Just
I'm kind of
paraphrase.
mixing in
Just
my
paraphrase.
own opinion
Sure.
here. But there seems to be some kind of sense of sophistication, like a feeling of sophistication
Mm.
that washes over people when they discuss how important privacy is.
Mm.
Because,
Okay.
dude, you
Yeah.
sound so smart when you talk about privacy. You sound like you care. You know, you sound like you're like up on the, you know, on what's happening in the world.
Uh-huh.
You know, and you're like, yeah, no privacy, end-to-end encryption and all that. And, you know,
Yeah.
oh, Zuckerberg, you know, but
Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, and I hate to sound cynical,
It's okay. Just be yourself.
but David Schwartz sort of said the same thing. I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, people just kind of just pay lip service to privacy matters. And they may, and I think the reason they don't really, you know, they just pay lip service to it, they love talking about it,
Yeah.
makes them sound like they care, sophisticated,
Sure.
smart, you know, got their finger on the pulse of what's happening. But at the end of the day, they'll go to Instagram and just spew out everything, and you know, post pictures of their children.
Right?
You know, so I think at the end of the day, it's just like lip service. Just makes it's just like it's like the term virtual signaling. You know,
Right. I've heard of
it,
that term.
I think
Yes.
it may have to do a little bit with virtual signaling, because you
Mm.
sound virtuous when you talk about how important privacy is.
Right.
No? Oh
It's
no,
true.
privacy is a very important matter. You know, the corporations shouldn't have, you know, access to your personal data, etc. But then I'm going to jump on Facebook and talk to everybody and, you know, get rage baited into something. So you
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, I think a lot of it might be, sadly, lip service. You know, people don't really walk the walk. They just love the way they sound when they talk the talk.
Talk to talk. Yeah.
Hot
Unfortunately.
take, maybe.
Hmm.
But I think really if it's a lot of that. And then of course there's the actual issue of corporations spying on you, you know, the real beast here going on.
Right.
But he did talk about something very important, and it's that like a lot of people expect things to be free because they've
Oh,
gotten spoiled
interesting.
over like how everything is free. But you've heard this old adage
Not
that
free. Nothing's
if
free.
it's free, you're the product, right?
That's right.
In fact, saying that is one of those virtue signals.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh, well, you know, if it's free, you're the product. You see how smart I sound when I say that?
Yeah, you sound so smart.
I sound
So
so
smart.
like, oh
So
my
smart.
God, this guy knows what he's saying,
He
you
knows
know?
what he's talking
And
about,
so people love to
obviously.
say that. Well, you
Right,
know, if
right,
it's free, it's because you're the product.
right,
You
right.
know, okay, yeah, but again, it goes to lip service. Yes, you're the product, and then you go and use it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so
Exactly.
really, do you really care? You know, I think at the end of the day, a lot of people find themselves like, yeah, I care, but what choice do I have?
You don't have to use that product.
Yeah, but that's where all my family is. That's where,
That's all my connections are.
that's how I
Right,
connect.
right.
That's where I get
That's
my
how,
dopamine fix,
or it's I get my
and
dopamine
so
fix.
that's what,
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. That
yeah.
makes sense though, but it's like you're forced to use these platforms even though they take away your privacy. You're the product, but you
But
have to
people
be
don't want
okay
to
with
pay for
that.
these services that they've gotten used to being free.
So
Originally
there's an
TextRP
advertisement.
was a paid, well, there are paid parts of it. But we run a credit system within the platform. So we
Right.
have known as M credits.
Ad credits.
So
Right.
on TextRP, when you log in, everybody who logs in for the first time receives 10 free M credits. And then sending chats within the platform burns up zero point 0.02 M credits.
Mm-hmm.
And up until recently, and that was how we were able to sort of try to sustain what we got, our platform. So, but again, it comes to the fact that people just don't want to pay. And no matter how low we make the price, even though sending a message is as low as 0.0000000 something pennies, in people's minds, it's still something that you have to pay for, even though we're not mining your data.
Right.
But people see that as a blockage, right? And so recently we've had to take a look at our model and make some hard decisions. And one of those decisions was to open up messaging within the app to be completely free. So if you jump into TextRP, you're only using up the credits if you're messaging out to the bridged platforms. So if you're sending out to other platforms, but if you're chatting within TextRP, it's not using up the credits anymore. It's completely free. And then so going back to what David Schwartz was speaking about, something very insightful. If a business is looking at that decision, okay, we go free, we're trying to charge for a service, but people don't want to pay for the service. If we go free, you have to switch to advertising, right? And the advertising model doesn't make money if it's not targeted, right? And so you're basically, that consumer demand for something to be free is actually kind of forcing a business into having to harvest your data.
Right.
And so we're looking at ways to kind of alleviate that. So basically, we've opened up the chat to be free within the app. If you're chatting wallet to wallet, it's completely free. However, there are some things like if you message via the bridges, it will consume a very low and nominal amount of M credits, as well as engaging with certain widgets.
Right.
Like if you want to token gate a room, that'll burn up some M credits to token gate that. And our NFT trading widget, one thing that we did is we have 0 fees on that. So there are 0 trading fees. So if you are trading NFTs within TextRP, well, you're avoiding the NFT marketplace trading fees, those brokerage fees.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge, especially once you have the wallet accessible to any wallet, like any crypto wallet. So just imagine you could send an ETH, Ethereum NFT to another Ethereum wallet, NFT without OpenSea.
Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Huge. That's huge. So why does OpenSea exist then?
And you can still sell the NFT. You're just not paying that fee to the broker.
To swap it or to send it through
OpenSea. Funny thing, I'm not going to name names, but I have contacted every NFT marketplace on the space, like in the XRPL space.
Right.
I have spoken and contacted in some way to every NFT marketplace out there.
Yeah.
They're not happy that we have a P2P NFT trading widget. They don't like us
No, I
because,
wouldn't think.
well, as one as one marketplace founder told me directly, that individual told me, I'm not going to say who it was, but that individual told me, we don't want people communicating. Because the moment they communicate, they're going to go peer to peer, and we're going to lose out on the brokerage fee.
Yep. That's huge.
Okay.
That's huge.
So, hey, they have their business model. We have ours.
Right.
I'm not.
They're not going to come after you, are they?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not claiming conspiracies here, but I would suggest, look, there are NFT marketplaces out there that are very forward looking. They're going beyond the, hey, we're just trading NFTs and getting a cut off the trades. All right, because I see that as something that will be going away eventually, switching over to P2P and curated collections. Right. And then so these marketplaces need to kind of expand. So I've seen where they're doing things, loyalty points, loyalty rewards, expanding into other things like minting platform, minting launch pads, and so those are they have to do that. Like you have to expand your services, because just relying on that one, hey, we're just gonna trade and get a fee off the brokerage, that's not gonna be a long-term play. Eventually people are gonna figure out that you can just P2P.
Right. And can't you do that already on TextRP? Could you mint your NFT on TextRP? Or not yet?
Our developers do have these little side projects that they work on.
Okay.
Right, on our widgets. So it's funny you say that, because just recently our CTO showed me a little something. He's like, oh, okay. It was actually he built an internal tool for us.
Yeah.
That turns out is really an NFT minting launchpad that we use internally to mint employee badges. We use we use NFTs for real world shit, not just so internally within the team, we have employee badges. They're NFTs. Nice. They give you access to certain places within TextRP that are for employees only. And so, and by the way, anyone can do that on TextRP. Like you could right now, let's say Crypto Fan Radio, hey, you want to issue NFTs to your team, right? And all you gotta do is go to TextRP, token gate a room to that NFT, and only people with that NFT have access to it. And so that's how we're handling our internal business dynamics. Is every employee gets an NFT, which is in essence a badge,
a badge,
an employee badge that grants you access to various parts of our of our operations.
That's so cool. So would I have access to that?
No, you're not an employee, so you don't have an employee badge. However, you could issue out your own NFTs. And actually, going back to
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Do we have NFT minting? We have something even better than that. Okay, we have a platform where any developer can build any tool on TextRP through our widgets. So can we have an NFT minter? We could have 50, right? It depends on what developer out there wants to build. And so, part of our roadmap is a widget framework, which we already have, by the way. If you are a developer, you can reach out to us at we're at TextRP SMS on X. Reach out to us. We can give you the link to our GitHub repos. We have widget templates. We have chatbot templates. And very soon we'll be releasing our official documentation. where developers can build chatbots, widgets, just like they can do for Telegram and Discord. They'll be able to build out those tools on TextRP. The cool thing is that like we're also integrated to the XRPL, so you'll be able to perform things like, you know, push to wallets, and because we'll be able to connect almost every wallet out there. If you're a developer and you are looking, you know, most developers on the XRP ledger have to make a very important decision, and that is, which wallet do we support, right? And for the most part, they choose the Zaman wallet because it's got the documentation and it's the most popular, right? They wish they could use other wallets, but they're limited in their resources, their time, etc. They just want to get this to market, so they choose the Zaman wallet. Okay,
Right.
great choice, right? But I understand the pain of them wanting to incorporate other wallets. So we're doing all the work for them. We're doing all this integration to more wallets. And once we get that done through our authentication, people will be able to connect to their websites, their services, their dApps, whatever, using our identity provider with any wallet. So you'll be able to go to, say, an XRPL based game, and it says, rather than connect your wallet, much like Social Connect, where you can log into a website with Google, you'll be able to log into a website through TextRP, right? Using our identity service, our social login, and our social login includes many wallets. So you'll have a choice of whatever wallet to log in, and then takes you back to whatever service, whether it's TextRP or some third party.
That's huge. That's huge. So I've been hearing from Nasi that when you're on TextRP, you're going to be able to get paid to chat on TextRP essentially. Would you mind walking me through how that works with the whole staking your text to get this type of payment or residual type of income, if that makes sense?
Yeah, sure. Right now there is a way to passively earn our token TXT. So and by the way, this is not a token that has no purpose other than to hold, right? This actually has a utility. Within TextRP, whenever you want to purchase, re-up your M credits, you can use XRP to purchase them, or you can use TXT token to purchase them. If you use the TXT token, you actually receive 10% bonus M credits. So we prefer you use the TXT token than XRP. By the way, whenever you purchase M credits using the TXT token, we actually burn 50% of that token. That revenue, we burn it out of circulation. And by the way, that was in place on day one when we released the token. So when we minted the token, it was ready to be used on TextRP. So we built that infrastructure before the token on purpose, because there was no way in hell that I, Will Moreno, doxed and verified, was going to launch a token that had absolutely zero use. Okay, that ain't my style. All right, so I launched a token that you could use from day one to purchase M credits, real utility. That's my promise. Okay, so so that's available right now. Like, if you want to purchase M credits, you can use TXT. You get 10% bonus M credits. We burn half of what comes in. So to earn TXT passively, we have a partnership with one of my, I think, the top NFT marketplace out there, because not only have they incorporated our chat communications into their platform, but also we host our Opulence NFTs there, our launch packs. That is the Opulence X NFT marketplace. They have a section called Opulify where you can actually earn yield rewards. So if you take the TXT token and you pair it up with XRP and you deposit it into a liquidity pool on the XRPL AMM or automated market maker, you can use any tool to deposit. You can use XP Market. You can use X Magnetic or Magnetic X Magnetic. So many X's. You can use Opulence X. There's a few platforms out there that allow you to engage with the AMM, so you can deposit into the pool. But if you deposit TXT and XRP into that liquidity pool, do not miss out on yield rewards.
Right.
Okay, you're doing yourself a disservice by just doing that alone. If you are depositing into the pool, go to Opulify at the Opulence X NFT marketplace, because we have yield farming available there. You can register your wallet and you will earn daily TXT rewards on that. I believe, I mean, last time I checked, that does fluctuate, but last time I checked, it was something like 94% APY. So you're getting TXT, you're basically yield farming TXT, which you're probably going to want to hold, because it's, we're working on way more utilities for this year for that token.
Right.
So that's one way where you can earn TXT right now. Okay,
That's
right
huge.
now,
But you don't need a message on the app.
you don't need
right?
to message or anything. You can just do it just simply by staking your TXT in a liquidity pool.
Okay.
And then go into Opulence, register your wallet, you'll earn TXT rewards daily, automatic. The other way to earn TXT, we're going to be rolling out in 2 phases. So we do have, if you read our white paper, and again, I had, our white paper is our Bible. I know a lot of projects will write a white paper and then forget they wrote one, right? They'll just they'll just jump into the next shiniest thing they see.
Right.
The next trend. Oh, that trend. Oh, AI is over here. NFTs now. Meme tokens are up. They just go to the next trend, right? We basically refer to the white paper on a daily basis. That is our compass, right? Are we aligning ourselves to the white paper? Are the things we're building aligning themselves to the white paper? Right. With respect to that, we'll be launching our chat rewards, which basically, as our white paper says, got it right here, actually. All right.
Nice. I see it. It says white paper.
It says right here, capturing the value of personal engagement through tokenization on the XRPL. So what we're doing is we're taking what was originally a physics formula for impulse. And one thing, my personal thesis is that impulse is also a human emotion, human activity, right? And it can be closely correlated to the same formula when it comes to physics. And so we're using that impulse formula in kind of everything we do here, and in the way that we reward chats. You'll be rewarded for basically for engaging within TextRP. Do we have that live right now? No. What we do have is the framework for it, and we are going to be rolling that out in phases. The first phase, which is actually going to be rolling out, if not this week, probably the next, but it's definitely no longer than 30 days from now. We'll be rolling out a faucet bot that it's going to be running wild on TextRP. You'll be able to invite this bot to any room, and you'll be able to just hit it up for some daily TXT rewards, right? So basically, come to TextRP at least once a day, engage with the bot, and you will receive TXT, which will actually multiply if you happen to be a Launchpack NFT holder. So if you hold an NFT, you'll actually be multiplying your amount that you're getting.
That's huge. So this is an incentive to mint your Launchpack NFT.
Yeah. So basically, if you have no Launchpacks, you're getting the base reward daily. If you have one Launchpack, you'll be getting, basically, it's a 1.5 multiplier.
Right.
And then anything after that is just whatever number of launch packs you hold. So if you hold 5 launch packs, it's a 5x multiplier. If you hold, so
That's huge.
and that's how that's going to work. We're going to roll out that bot just so we can get people rewarded right away for engagement, right? Because the actual engagement engine that you see on the white paper is a little bit more complicated, and it's a little bit more mathematical, and it just takes a little bit more time to really put in place on our back end and have it run. But it's definitely in the works. We've got the framework for it, and we've got it on our project board as something that's being actively worked on right now. But in the meantime, we'll be releasing that faucet bot just to start getting people rewarded for engagement. So you can look to see that live probably within, like I said, no more than 30 days from now. In fact, we were just testing the bot today, and I had to pause testing so I can have a little conversation with you.
Sure. No, I really appreciate that, Will. Yeah, and I know we're kind of wrapping it up here. We've been going for almost 90 minutes. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, but I just had a few more questions on TextRP and the future of TextRP too, because it sounds like, is this kind of the end all be all for you for like as a dev, or is this like just another project that you're going to put in your collection of things that you've done in your life? Is there like another TextRP2, like, or is this kind of the final phase of this chapter of your life? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
It's just a lot is in the works right now, and
Yeah.
I'm just not sure how ready we are to announce,
Mm.
but we are taking TextRP is something that third-party developers can build upon. All right.
Mm.
So the cool thing is, if I ever have another idea, right, it's not about, oh, cool, I'm going to do this idea. It's, I have a cool idea, I can build it and deliver it on TextRP, because basically TextRP allows a builder to create an application, and then that application engages with users. So imagine, for example, and there's so many use cases, I can't think of them all, which is why we're releasing our API, our documentation, so that others can build, because like there's just so many ideas, we can't build them all. There's I mean, I'll just rapid fire them. There's games, there's document signing, there's launch pads, for NFT minting. There's somebody could create a widget that archives communications and stores them as a widget, as an NFT, excuse me. There's games that could be developed for TextRP that could adapt themselves as people join the room.
Wow.
Right. So that's the level of engagement that your dApp, your app, whether it's a Web 2 service, whether it's a Web 3, right? What you're doing is you're delivering it on a platform that engages with the user via chat and a visual interface, right? So you can imagine how much you can supercharge a game when that game is talking back to you,
That's huge.
or giving you live stats in the chat. So you could imagine, for example, like, I don't know, a chess game, just right off the top of my head, a chess game that by the way, this is just dropping alpha. Any developer could just pick this up and do it before I do. Go grab yourself a chess game from GitHub and modify it to work on TextRP. So it'll, like, for example, you know how whenever a person makes a move, that's recorded, right? It's bishop's pawn to, rook's, seven, knight, whatever. That can reflect in the chat, so-and-so won, so there's just so many use cases that, like, I can't just sit here and start building them all. Best I can do is create a framework in which other people with ideas can come in and just create cool things for TextRP, basically cool apps that engage with the user, and not only engage with the user, but engage with the user who happens to be an XRP wallet. And so when you have that dimension, it just opens up so many other use cases when it comes to identity, payments, transactions, engagement, all rolled up into our API.
That's huge. Yeah, I don't know anything like that well. And I think what you have is very exciting and something that more people need to be interested in as well. I don't feel like it's not even that hard of a sell, like to be honest. Even when we're talking about it in spaces, we're talking about it even in person, talk to my mom about it. She's like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, but you need a Zamen wallet. And she's like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, right. We're not quite there yet. We're almost there. Well, we're not. Maybe by the end of the year, we'll have a lot of normies just being onboarded to TextRP just because they want that privacy, that
Absolutely.
layer. They want to communicate in a very, safe and secure manner. These
And
things, I feel like, especially older generations, they want that. They want that well.
yes. Yeah. And one thing, when you engage, when you're in the space with a crypto project,
Mm-hmm.
they're there for your money.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They want you to buy their token, right?
Of course. Or NFT.
Here's what I love about TextRP. Look, you don't have to buy a token. You don't have to buy a launch pack, which is only 50 XRP on xsmart.art or 55 XRP for the Opulence edition at the Opulence X marketplace. You don't have to purchase our TXT token to use the TextRP app. We want you to use the TextRP app. We want you to experience what XRPL utility is without the sale, without the pressure, without the FOMO. Oh, we need you to ape into this. No, you don't have to buy a coin. You don't have to buy a thing to use TextRP. Just come and use it. Check it out. Free wallet-to-wallet messaging. And I think you're going to discover that we are, I mean, look, if you missed out on that iPhone 1 moment, you're getting it again, because with TextRP, we're back again to that iPhone 1 moment where you're seeing just what is possible and where it's going to take us in the future.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm excited. I'm really excited that you guys, are doing your thing, and you're following through and you're bringing this power to your communities. This is really power. Communication has all been about power, and having that powerful voice to connect with someone, resonate with them, and then respond back. That's basically just plain simple communication. That's all we want. That's what you're giving us. So I love that. I love that. So anything else you wanted to share about you or TextRP that you don't think you've covered yet, Will? Anything else that you think we may have missed, just for our listeners that are, watching or listening to us today? I'm just trying to rack my head. I feel like you covered most everything. I don't really think anything else has to be said.
Well, I just want to. I think I just want to put some perspective on things.
Yeah, please do. Don't be a pessimist.
So, look, I'm not an Ivy League school graduate.
Yeah.
There are some crypto projects that you see out there come out with like a team of people that they were there from college. This guy's from Yale. This guy's from Harvard. They've got the most amazing algorithm that does this financial thing. And look, at the end of the day, I was a non-commissioned officer in the Army. All right. That was all I was. I just made things happen. That was my job. And I don't speak very fancy like. Sometimes my English isn't very good looking because I am not native English speaker. I was originally from Puerto Rico, so something I totally didn't even mention where I was from. But I'm just a regular guy who sees a situation that's kind of a mess. And thought to pick up a broom and clean things up a little bit, and try to, create a space where people can come and build, and sort of filter out the, the noise from what's real utility.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think if you can find something that is useful to others, that is huge. And I've been in my own life, I've always been of that mindset of, hey, how can I be useful in this space? How can I help people understand the jargon that these devs are throwing at us and distill it in a way that makes sense to the audience? You know, how can I make people feel comfortable in a
Yeah.
space, you know? And it's just like these little things, these little details, they just stack up over time. And you'll find, especially when you're talking to people or communicating your intention to one another, you know, it's this way of giving back. You know, it's this way of giving back. And it's this giving that really resonates with me and what you're doing well. And with TextRP, I feel like it's a way that you're giving back a problem that you tried to solve in your own life, and you're like, hey, maybe this is a problem that other people have as well, and you want them to understand how easy it is, right? Through TextRP, it's very easy. It's literally free as long as you have a Zamen wallet to come through and to communicate and to build. And we need more builders. You know, this platform is meant for builders. And I
Mhm.
think at the end of the day, we're all builders. And if we have this builder mindset, right, this like long game, not the short game in crypto, we can see a lot more people with conviction. You know, we can see a lot more communities actually working together and not, you know, disperse or get fragmented or get rugged or get, you know, stolen, hacked, scammed, whatever you want to call it, you know. So it's really
Just
refreshing to see you build something for others in a way that you're giving something of yourself in a way, right? And I think that's huge. That's magical. It's something that I don't see every day, and that's something that resonated with me in what you're building with TextRP and what Nasi has told me throughout the last just month, maybe almost month and a half of knowing TextRP. Like seriously, I'm still very new to the project compared to you guys. So it's like I you know, I understand it a lot more now. And through, you know, just staying, being consistent, chatting through it every day, you know, I'm bringing more people into my room. I'm growing that. And I'm giving what you're giving back to my community. See, you see how that works? And I love that. You know, it's kind of this chain effect. And eventually TextRP is going to become so huge and so big. And you'll be like, yep, it's just, we made it, you know, like it's just, we have all these users. We've scaled basically, right? That's what they tell us. We've scaled to this number where it's like, you know, we made it.
yeah, yeah. I think with you know, when we look at you got to put yourself in proportion here, right?
Mm,
So the XRPL space isn't the largest crypto space, but you
true.
know, to have onboarded to have onboarded over 5,000 wallets,
That's huge.
that speaks a lot.
That's huge, man.
To have been you know, selected second place winners in the Ripple
Hmm.
hackathon and first place winners at the
That's huge.
XRPL Las Vegas Shark Tank competition. That speaks a lot as well.
Yes.
You know, we were up against some really big projects that were, you know, had some very impressive ideas.
Nice.
So I think that what we've got is something that is it's just the beginning of bigger things. You know, like I said, we're showing the world what we can do
Mm,
when you combine communications with blockchain. So
yes.
we're sure, you know, this TextRP, the XRPL community is showing the world what real utility can look like.
Yes, I see it. I see it, and it's going to be not even a crypto thing, right? It'll just be an anything thing, a communication platform for anyone to
Exactly.
use and to
Exactly. And we're
download.
trying to and at the end of the day, we're, you know, we're looking towards to a point where you're not even aware you're doing crypto. You know, for example, if you're imagine not you don't have to imagine too hard because we're so close,
We're
but
so good.
imagine we're having a chat
Yeah.
on TextRP and
Yeah.
we need to sign a document, you know, and I send you a document to sign and you sign it and I get it. Great, it's signed. You don't even have to know that all that was done on the blockchain.
No, but that's cool.
Yes.
That's cool. That's amazing.
So yeah, that's where we're trying to get to.
Love
But
that.
of course, in this iPhone 1 moment, you get what you are seeing, which is impressive as it is.
It
You
is.
can just, you know, squint your eyes a little bit and just see, oh my gosh, this thing's going to be so much better.
It's going to be for sure,
Yeah.
as you start rolling out certain
Yeah.
updates, and yeah, but this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, Will. So thank you so much for your time again. Is there anything
Thank
else you wanted to add, or are you good? Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh no, you guys are on the ground
Okay,
floor. If you don't
awesome.
want to,
Yeah.
support TextRP via purchasing a launch pack NFT, you're welcome to also purchase some of the TXT tokens that can be used for purchasing M credits. And if you don't want to support us in any way by purchasing anything, that's fine too. You can support us by simply just using the app, because you'll be engaging with real blockchain utility right now, not something to look forward to in the future. So even if you don't want to support us, you can still use us.
Awesome. And I think we'll just end with that. Thank you again, Will, for an amazing interview. I learned so much about TextRP and your life and just coming into crypto, and then your background in communications in the Army. That's huge. That's really incredible. So I really appreciate your time, and I thank you so much for this amazing, amazing interview.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome.